everybody. Let me push a button here.
Broadcasting across Australia on Dare Media Group radio stations, this is the Sportcat Show, uncovering secret chapters, strange encounters,
and the occasional technical mishap.
Always a technical mishap. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are live on Dare Talk Radio and Radio X Country, and overnight in Australia, in Nashville, WRFN, Radio Free Nashville, and WZQR, Pine Island, Florida. Welcome, everybody. We have a great show lined up for us tonight. We are going to be talking disc golf with one of the best players in the league, Scott Stokely. So let me bring out my beautiful and wonderful sidekick. Hello, JM. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Oh, hold on here. I have a personal request. Good night, Squirt. I hope that you sleep tight. So there we go. There we go. Stokely is life. So he's not backstage yet. So hopefully he'll be here in a minute. Hello, Chris. Welcome. So and he says hello to you. So JM.
Well, hello, Chris.
How the heck are you, JM?
I'm it's not bad here now. I mean, a couple weeks ago we were freezing. Now we're wondering if we're going to get any snow left for the rest of the winter.
Yeah, you keep sending that cold air down here. I don't want it. No.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Actually, the past couple days here in East Tennessee, it's been pretty nice.
That jet stream must be shifting.
Yeah. They told us we were going to pay for this. So they said your groundhog is a liar and it's coming back. So
we're going to have one heck of a fire season this year, I think.
Yeah. So it's going to be.
And then we'll send all our smoke down to you.
Oh yeah. Well, that's okay. We'll trade you for it. So we just add to it with our bad air here. So. So it's not been bad. We've been doing the Daily Gazette every day, and I've been doing the Thin Line Rock Station Tuesdays and Thursdays from noon till 2. So staying busy, but it has been relatively nice here in the mountains. And I wish I had gotten a chance to go out and play disc golf, because one of my favorite courses here is in East Tennessee. Haven't got to it yet, so it's kind of a challenging course though, because it's on ridges, up and down, and I'm old, so
I have to admit, I hadn't heard of disc golf. That was one of those things I hadn't heard of it until you'd mentioned it, so I had to go look it up, and it looks hard. It looks pretty cool though.
Well, I would say it's hard, but I guess it depends. It's not like it's impossible, but you've definitely got to make sure to learn angles and the speed. And I have a friend who's a pilot, and he loves it because of the edge of the disc, and he talks about the wing, and I'm like, too much science for me. Go straight, is it?
See, I don't know if I could manage that, because I can see an open door frame, walk towards the open door frame, and still manage to hit it.
Yeah.
So I think I would end up like taking somebody's head off, I think.
The trees are a definite bad thing in disc golf. And I think I have hit more trees than I've actually hit baskets. My friend KG and we went and was playing a course in Tampa while we were in Florida. And we've lost a disc, and we're still looking for it in Florida.
I suppose there's worse things to lose.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe you'll find it like you'll find. I'm assuming this has been a while ago, though, eh?
Last summer before. So,
oh yeah, so somebody will find it. Their dog will bring it home or something.
And that's the nice thing about disc golf, because I have actually lost discs on the course, and somebody will call you and be like, "Hey, I found your disc when I was looking for mine." And
nice.
And a lot of courses have like a lost and found box they'll put it in.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. If there's a good honor system and people are honest, then you never have to worry about losing stuff. But it's just, unfortunately, there's not a lot of honest people out there. We're kind of becoming a little bit more of a rarity, I think.
Okay. Well, let me reply, because I just got a message from Scott's agent, and he said he's backstage, but I don't see him.
Oh, no.
No.
Did he click on the wrong link?
I don't know. Let me send him the link again, because sometimes it does that. Let me do this.
I know I've had the same issue.
Well, sometimes it does that. I don't know why. But
Is that technical difficulties thing you were talking about, right?
Yeah, and I'm so surprised we didn't have it last night with the aliens.
Oh, knock on wood. Don't jinx us.
Yeah.
Be like the whole rest of this month we'll have technical difficulties.
We got lucky, and I bought his book, by the way.
I did too.
So yeah, I can't wait to read that one. I haven't had a chance to start.
Mine's arriving on Friday, so I'm finishing the book I'm reading now, and then I'm going to start it.
Well, I have to buy a Kindle, or Mrs. Sportcat will shoot me. So
just get a Kobo or a Kindle and like an ebook thing, and then she doesn't get to see how many books you actually have, and they're cheaper too.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think I actually had some what do they call them, Kindle points or something. So when I bought his, I think it was only like $10 to start with, so it wasn't that bad. So
yeah.
Chris was talking about good weather. I was like talking about a no-hitter in baseball. I have no comment. Yeah, Chris, where you at? It's been cold, so yeah. Chris is up closer to you, so. But I sent the link again. Hopefully, he can go out and come back in. Sometimes it does that. I don't know why. I can't. I wish I could say. But sometimes you just have to go out and come back in. And
I'm convinced there's little gremlins. Yeah.
Yeah. I have. Well, there's a group of us that have a ongoing chat. People that have live shows, and somebody was talking about their show tonight. I'm sorry, last night in a different format. I think they were using StreamYard, maybe whatever. They weren't using this one, and they were like, it wouldn't show me on the screen, but you could hear me. It's never done this. So, goodness. So, and then a few weeks ago, we had, I think you were here when we had the police officer from Virginia.
Yep.
That was having
and then
that was because the Verizon internet's whatever, and they wouldn't even keep her signal or her whatever you want to call it, signal. They wouldn't keep it. I couldn't download it. I had to download it off YouTube. All right, let me bring Scott out here. So he looks hey, Scott.
Hey, what's up, and how you guys doing?
Why do you look like you're in a van down by the river, Scott? So.
Hold on. I want this light on though. Sorry. There we go. What's up, you guys? I was sitting in what I thought was the green room for the little bit, and the link wasn't working. It kept saying waiting, but then I was watching you live, realizing you weren't seeing me. But we found a different link that worked.
Okay. All right.
So my apologies.
No, I've had the exact same issue happen to me, so don't worry. I believe you.
You know, the strangest thing is, with the fact that the entire world operates on Zoom and like live meetings and live podcasts, and they like every fifth time it doesn't work right. It's so bizarre. Like they haven't just nailed this thing down.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you heard me talking, but another show host and I were talking about their show. Everything works perfectly, but last night she couldn't come on the screen. She could see everything. She could talk.
Right.
So sometimes it happens. So
bizarre.
It'd be too easy. That's my saying, my mantra. It'd be too easy otherwise.
Correct.
And let me get this out of the way. I usually do a better job than this, but Scott, this is Jen, JM. She's an author, lives up in Canada. Of course, you know who I am.
Hello.
Scott is a disc golf legend, and he's an author and a teacher and a world record holder and a Guinness World Record holder. So I'm trying to get your head really big, Scott.
Well, then you forgot devilishly handsome.
Well, I was going to let Jen do that part.
Okay.
There you go.
So how the heck are you, sir?
I am doing good, and I know it seems like an unusual setting for this. I've been on the road for about 6 years, and so everything I do is either at a hotel or at a site or between sites, but it's always a different place. So I just finished running an event this afternoon in Huntsville, but I have to be in Augusta, Georgia, 6 hours away this evening. So the only way to do this was to pull over and relax in a nice parking lot. I've gotten very good at finding parking lots and with like really good lighting that actually provide front lighting, like 3-point lighting. But so but that's the reason for the weird setting.
Hey, if you're in Atlanta and a guy comes up and spits on your window and tries to clean it, just give me a holler. So
I don't stop in Atlanta.
Smart move.
Yeah, I mean, I don't make a habit of stopping either, but for me it's probably just not safe.
No, and by the way, Atlanta is a phenomenal city. So all my Atlanta people out there don't get offended. I love Atlanta.
I'm from Atlanta. I was a paramedic firefighter there for years, so I'm allowed to take the cheap shots. So
yeah,
dirty underbelly. So
I can make that joke. I have a friend from Atlanta.
Nice.
Yeah. And
well, every city has their underbelly, has their you don't go there after dark kind of area.
Yeah.
No, I'm at Mom's in Knoxville now, and I worked here as a paramedic. I can tell you all about it here too. So they all have them. So so you were playing today?
No, not playing. I mean, I'm in a different city every day running events.
Okay.
So I've probably run, I don't know, 45 events in the last 50 days. They were in California. Well, it was Colorado, Utah, Oklahoma, and then I ran some in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. Then I shot back to Mississippi, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama. That's just my normal life. Different city every day.
Wow, I'm jealous.
I was gonna say I travel. I stay in my province. That's about it.
Yeah, no, me and my girlfriend are full-time nomads. We live on the road. We will never have a home. We're never going to ever we're never going to have a place we live. And we stay in hotels every single night and prefer it that way. So
I think that's what my son wants to do. He says, "Mom, me and my best friend, we're going to get a van and we're going to live in our van all the time. And we're going to come to your house and we're going to plug it in." And I'm just, yeah. But you know what? I've seen people do that. It must be fun. It's freeing.
So it's not that it's better or worse. It's just a matter about figuring out what makes you happy. Like, what things do you want? And if you want stability and you want to wake up in your bed every night, it would be a nightmare to live like I do. And most people wouldn't want to live like I do, but I wouldn't want to live like them either, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about finding it's just really about what makes you happy. So we've been to 43 countries in the last 5 years.
Ooh.
And that all that means to me is I have more than 100 countries I still have to go visit. There's so much of the world I haven't seen that it's just about getting to the next place and seeing everything. But then again, I don't have a home. I don't have a I don't have a place to, which is fine.
But do
you go for work or do you go for fun to travel?
So it's a little bit of both. When I travel, most of the travel around the world is I'm not going for work, but I've built my businesses that I can run mostly by my phone. And so I manufacture golf discs out of Georgia, ironically. And I have a partner that does manufacturing, warehousing, distribution, shipping. I handle marketing, branding, promotion, social media, team building, sales, which I can do all from the road. So I can be in Cambodia and make sales calls, and I can be in Cambodia and have meetings with, retail stores or chains, right? So I can do all those things from anywhere. So I'm working from everywhere, but I'm not going there for work.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I bet I've heard of a lot of people actually that I've talked to now that are working remotely, and they said too they can go on vacation or they can go wherever they want and put in a day's work and then go to the beach or wherever they want to go. It sounds, it's like as long as you've got an email or sorry, internet and a cell phone connection, you can be anywhere. It sounds like our world is kind of shifting in that direction.
Yeah, so the term what most people use for what they do is called digital nomads. And what they're really doing is they're most of them aren't really traveling as much as they're just living in a different location for 3 months, 6 months, a year. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right? They go to Barcelona and immerse themselves in the life of in Barcelona for a year. The language, the culture, they make friends and like they just live there. So then they have their weekends free, and then they have their evenings free, just like you do in your daily life. You have evenings free to spend time with friends or go to the movies, and that's really what they're doing. It's not. It's the term digital nomad though. They're not really nomads, right? They're just living in a different place that happens to be in a different country for shorter periods of time. Where like. What we do is we are actually nomadic. I mean, we don't have a home base. We don't have a storage unit. We don't own a single thing that can't fit into 2 suitcases in this world. If you don't got work stuff, like I got a whole van full of like merchandise because I show up and I distribute products at stores and do shows and run events. But if you take away the work stuff, me and my girl, 2 suitcases is every single thing we own. We don't even own a box of stuff at our parents' house somewhere. And we just, when we go, we just pack up and go. When we leave the country, like we don't buy plane tickets till the day we're at the airport. Like we're just, where are we going to go next? But every day I got to be on the phone working. So no matter where I am, I'm still employed. Well, I employ myself, but I'm still working every single day like everyone else. It's just, I just don't know what country I'll be in next week.
That's incredible. That's kind of very liberating.
It's a bizarre world. It's odd. It's not for everybody, but it is exactly what I built my business so I could live like this. I mean, my business started with the idea, what would make me happy? Well, what would make me happy is seeing the world. Okay, well, that's my goal, see the world. And then from there, how can I make that happen? It wasn't that I had a job and then said, well, what can I do with my free time? It was the other way around. I built my life around the travel.
I like it. It.
I don't think I could manage that with just my kids. Just my life doesn't accommodate that, but my kids would drive me nuts. I mean, their Pokemon cards alone would be like 3 giant tubs. Their Legos, don't even get me started on those. I think I'd need like several semi trucks to carry their stuff.
I mean, there are people that travel with kids, probably not the way we do, but there are people that do digital nomading with kids. And they can pull it off, but I think in most cases it's probably something you do before kids and after the kids leave, because I mean, kids also need stability and they need to make friends. I think that's a lot of people would agree that's the way. And again, but that's not for everybody.
Exactly.
My girlfriend actually homeschooled her kid. She was a nomad before we met, so she actually homeschooled her kid on the road for 7 years, traveling all over. And he ended up getting into an advanced pre-med program at 16 years old.
Oh, nice.
So, so he turned out just fine. But there's pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
Let me jump into comments here real quick. Cool Banana Boy says, Scott's a legend and a really great guy to meet in person. I met him once in San Antonio and was so happy. You got fans. So
there you go.
I know I do, while I simultaneously hate the word. Like I've never used the word fan once in my social media. Well, I just feel like for me that if I use the word fans for the people that I meet, then I feel like I'm elevating myself above them, which I don't like. Although that is exactly the word I use when I'm talking to other players about their fans, because that's what they are. They're fans. And I'm a fan of other athletes and I'm a fan of other famous people. But I just don't like, it just doesn't feel right when I put it on.
I get it. One of the places we're really popular is Australia, and we're live in Australia right now. So if you have any fans there, and they send me the numbers, and I'm like, why are that many people even listening to me? It's hard to put in my head why. And the station manager's like, because we like you. So.
We loved Australia. Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's a good thing. Take it as a compliment.
Yeah. No, we spent 6 weeks in Australia. And then we went to Tasmania for a few weeks, which was Australia, but we were on the mainland on the East Coast and then Tassie. And we had a great time there. And we like everywhere. Like everywhere is like every place is awesome and every place has things about it that are kind of awful. And everywhere you go, there's things that are absurd. There's no place that just, isn't everything if you look for it. I mean, it's only a few. I mean, there are some places where there's nothing really bad. We've never found anything bad in Japan or Malaysia. Like there's some places where we're like, yeah, most everything's good, but most places it runs the full gamut of experiences.
Now, do you rent a car and drive when you're out of the country?
So it depends. Every country is different. In Australia and New Zealand, we rented a vehicle because it's so big and there's so much ground to cover. So we have to do that. When you go to Japan, it's the public transportation is way better than any vehicle you could ever drive. I mean, the trains, the Shinkansen, the bullet trains, and then the buses and the subways. Most of Southeast Asia, for example, they have something called Grab, which is just like Uber, but it's all over Southeast Asia. It's basically Uber. It's just as efficient. The cars are just as clean. The difference is that you can get across town for like 75 cents.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So there's literally no reason to rent a car in Thailand, for example. Like it's just no benefit to it. But although there are countries where we rent scooters, like there's a scooter culture. You go to Vietnam or you go to Indonesia, like it's Philippines, like it's insane being on a scooter because the way they traffic laws are suggestions. They're not laws. It's wild out there. So it's kind of like, I don't know. So my girlfriend, she always hops on the back of the scooter with me, and she says it's kind of like being immersed in a video game. So she enjoys it, and she just sits back and just goes. So yeah, so really it depends, where you are. It's country by country. Prefer not to rent a car because it's it's very expensive. But some places you got to.
And when you're traveling, do you play disc golf at every place?
So I've taught disc golf. I've taught disc golf classes in 26 countries, and then a number of other countries. I mean, I've competed all over the world. Like, I mean, I'm actually the current Southeast Asian Open Pro champion of all things. And I just went to Japan. I finished second place at the World Club Guts Championships, which is another Frisbee game. I won the Japan Disc Golf Championships. So I'm competing everywhere I go, but it's not really my priority when we travel to those places. We even are pretty adamant about avoiding tourist towns whenever possible. Like if we're in Pisa, we're going to go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa, because we're not going to avoid it to be some like some hipster who doesn't go to see the famous tourist trap. Like, we'll go see the Eiffel Tower. Of course, but the majority of our time we try to avoid the places where the tourists are because that's where the real experiences are. So, but the point being is that disc golf tends to center around, in most of those countries, it's a lot of Westerners that come out, and then I'm hanging out with the same people I hang out with in the U.S., which is not why I'm in Malaysia. I want to be, with Malaysians, not Americans playing Frisbee golf. Nothing against my Americans who disc golf, but when I'm traveling, that's not who I'm there for.
I get it. I know when I was a flight paramedic and we flew for 2 weeks out of every month, I was like you, different town every night, flying around as a flight paramedic. And anytime I could get in a game, I would get the hotel to take me to a course if we got there early enough. If we could at 8 at night. No, I'm not going to, but yeah. And if we could do it, so I tried to whenever I went, and that allowed me to play in more. I played in Colorado, California, places I would have never gotten to play in. We went to Bermuda all the time, and I never found out if there's disc golf in Bermuda. I was disappointed.
Could Google it.
This was before Google.
Well, so at this point, I'm like, for me, it's just all about experiences. I want new and unique experiences. And there are places where the disc golf experiences are incredibly unique. So I'll give you just one example. There's a disc golf course. It's the only disc golf course in Cambodia. Probably my favorite place in Asia to play, or one of two or three. And what's so unique about it is the person there that runs this resort. His name's Jacob, sweetest guy in the world. And there's a pretty nice 18-hole course, right? He has a couple bungalows you can stay out. His wife, will cook meals, and he has a little bar where you can buy frisbees and beer if you drink, whatever. But it's just a little business. But a pretty cool 18-hole course. And I asked him one time, I said, how many acres is your property? And he said, oh, it's 3/4 of an acre. And I was like, well, wait a second. Well, no, I just played the course. I know how big an acre is. You're clearly bigger than 3/4 of an acre. He goes, no, that's our property. And I said, well, whose property is the course on? And he said, oh, it's like 8 or 9 neighbors. And I'm like, they were okay with that? And he says, oh, I never asked them. Okay, now my first thought was Jacob, you can't do this. This is like this horrible American reputation that that's not okay. But he stopped me. He says, no. My wife, who's Cambodian, explained to him. The neighbors would not even understand the question. This is just land. The idea that you don't use the land that's available to you is absurd. Of course you can use the land. What are you going to do? Just own a house and let your property just sit there without anybody using it? That would make no sense. So he didn't need to ask, because that's just not how things work there. There's land available. So you still show the basic respect of not putting the disc golf next door or right next to a rice paddy where you might damage people's food. You don't put the basket right next to someone's house where you might break their window. But other than that, you're just supposed to use the land. So this land is going through 8 or 9 people's properties. Now, most of the houses in Cambodia are 3, 4, 5 generation houses. They've got 4, 5, 6 kids living in that house, which means there are 50 or 60 kids just on the property where the disc golf course is alone who live on the property. They all disc golf. They all disc golf. A lot of them, some of them wear shoes. Some of them don't wear shoes by choice. Some of them don't wear shoes because they don't have shoes. And there's just dozens of children playing disc golf, Cambodian children, every single day out there. They love to play. They follow you around if you're playing. They want to talk to you and hang out with you. We've become friends with some of them. They will, if you throw your disc in a thorn bush, they'll go in the thorn bush and get it for you. They'll climb trees to get your disc for you. And, usually you give them $1 or something, some amount of money for climbing a tree, which is what their dad's making an hour laying concrete, about $1 an hour. So that's pretty good pay for a 7-year-old Cambodian kid. And it's just the most incredible experience you've ever had, because these kids, they don't know that they're poor because they're too busy being happy and being kids. They're just having a blast. They're all in the good mood. They all just beat up on each other like little boys do. They just, they make fun of each other, and they run around and play disc golf. Now, one of the most unique things about this is Jacob's tried to give them discs, because he gives them all their frisbees for free. He lets them all play for free, obviously. And the kids won't even write their names on the bottoms of the discs. The reason why is they would never consider taking these discs home with them. Because if you take your golf discs home with you, what happens if someone else shows up that needs discs? That just makes no sense. Why would I take discs home? How's anybody going to use my discs if they're sitting in my bedroom? Well, they don't have their own bedroom probably, right? But so all they do is they leave them on the course. And then when they come back, they grab whatever discs are available because it's communal. Like everybody just shares what's available. And one of my observations was, like, we know historically when the government insists that everybody shares things equally, we know how badly that goes. Okay, I am not a proponent of that whatsoever. However, when a community does it simply out of necessity, because that's what you need to do, meaning if I have a bike, now my neighbors have a bike. It's a beautiful thing. So this is just an experience you're not going to find. I wouldn't say anywhere in the world. I've never played in Africa or some of these places like that, but it's a very unique experience to me because it's of these children and the culture on this disc golf course. I mean, there's nothing like it in the world.
See, I can't even get my kids to share candy.
I didn't say they share. I didn't say they shared their candy.
My kids share a bedroom and they fight every night. I can't imagine like these kids that probably don't even have their own bedroom.
No. So there's 3 or 4 generations in a house. The reason why is there's no social security. There's no safety net. Like your social security is your children take care of you. So you, someone says I came in at a weird time. What are we talking about? No. So what's you have to, because it's multi-generational. When you get older, you need the younger people to take care of you. So therefore, when you're younger, you take care of the older people because you need your culture, your family to take care of you someday. That's your safety net. It's required. So the idea of that's just the way things are.
I married into a Chinese family. So they kind of have a lot of the same mindset. We have 4 generations living in our household, and so I knew that the family was important, so I expected it and such. But I feel that it's nice, to have those family members that can teach the younger people too. And I think it's good for younger people to learn that older people need help, and you should be able to help them.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those. It all depends on the family. I think if the right family lives with you, that's probably pretty awesome. If you come from a crappy family, it would be a nightmare. So I think it's on a case by case basis. But out of necessity over there, there's not an option. It's just how things are.
There's always that one mother-in-law. So,
well, it's there's a language barrier. So, but I still, it's not too bad. I guess I was lucky.
Well, so the other thing is that this is when you travel, especially around the world to different places, you get to see what actual poverty is, not American poverty, like where you have a cell phone and more calories than you need poverty, but like real poverty. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, just this last year, the best Cambodian disc golf player, native Cambodian disc golfer, died. He's a kid who died of dengue fever, which is curable. The reason why he died was because the family, when he got sick, could not take him to a doctor. Now, had they gone to Jacob and said, we need a doctor, our kid's very, very sick, Jacob would have absolutely stepped in and helped them. They never asked. For them, the doctor wasn't an option. Sick child, keep him warm, try to give him water, and pray.
Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't happen here. Like, you don't have to die of dengue fever. And unfortunately, that's reality there. So it gives you a different perspective on life being around that, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. You were pretty young when you got into disc golf, weren't you? Were you about these kids' age?
So, sort of. I started playing. So I played my first round of frisbee golf back then on the world's first permanent frisbee golf course when it was the only permanent course in the entire world. I was 7 years old. It was 1976. But I didn't really get into the sport then. My mom lived near the disc golf course, but our home was probably 7 miles away, which when you're 7 years old, that's might as well be Europe.
Long walk.
Yeah, so I wasn't playing there, except that my mom, because it was by her work. I'd probably go there every month or two or something. I don't really remember, but I would occasionally play. I didn't really start playing every day until I was 11 years old because my mom moved us about 200 yards away from the first course, and I happened to live there, and that's when I really started playing every day. So I guess I was their age, but those kids start playing it in Cambodia. The Cambodian kids start playing when they're 4 or 3. Like they want to go out with the bigger kids and do what they do.
Of course, like every little kid wants to be with the bigger kids and emulate them. That's lovely that they have that opportunity and that community space and the materials that they can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the comments here, Kid Wilson, says, Scott, I found some disc golf discs at a Goodwill for $1 a piece. Bought them and been having a great time at 53. It's a good hobby and good exercise. He also said he's in East Tennessee. He should message me while I'm here in East Tennessee. We should play around. But yeah, it's a nice thing. It's so inexpensive. So
it is. It's as far as the participation sport, it is that inexpensive. You can get a couple used discs for a few bucks a piece, and that's all you need. You can play with those discs for the next year. Most courses are free. The ones that aren't free, it costs a couple bucks. It's a nominal fee. I mean, there's nothing like this game. I mean, you want to get out. You mentioned it being good exercise. You walk like 3 to 4 miles, give or take, during a round of disc golf, because tee pad to hole is going to be a little over a mile. But then you got hole to the next tee pad, but then your shots go all over the place. Like you play a couple rounds of disc golf, you might get close to 10 miles walking in without even realizing you were exercising. By the way, that's the best type of exercise, when you don't realize you're doing it.
I could burn like 300 calories cleaning my house. I love it.
Exactly, right?
And I can't find the damn disc. I walk off with it.
There you go.
Well, it is inexpensive, like you said, and there are some, and I found most courses, even if they do require you, unless you're at like a pro place, it's the honor system, and it's like you and your buddies all $5, like you said, it's reasonable. But there's, speaking of exercise, there's also been courses. There's one in Vermont that I've not made it through the whole course yet, where I haven't felt like I was going to have a heart attack and had to stop. So it is great exercise.
Do you find that there's kind of like a community of like-minded people in the sport of disc golf, like especially in smaller towns, maybe?
So the answer is yes and no. There are like-minded people in terms of people that enjoy the game, the people that there's a certain personality that likes to play disc golf. If you're an adult who plays disc golf, you're choosing to spend time playing with frisbees in a park. That's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to play with toys in a park in their free time when they're 30 or 40, 50 years old. A lot of people, that's why they enjoy it. Makes them feel young. So that does draw a certain type of individual. But the demographic of people that play is about as broad as the community that you're in. There is very, very, very little correlation between socioeconomic status and then people who play. We were just talking about this. We were in California disc golfing with one of the co-founders of Netscape. Like that's on one end of the spectrum. One of our other friends runs one of the biggest software companies managing banks in 100 different countries, and he's the head of this major global company. And you have infinite number of blue collar, just, regular folks that are, just people. And as far as their careers, and nobody gives a crap what you do for a living. Like, there is no socioeconomics when you actually get out to play. Everybody's just playing together. And I mean, when I say nobody cares, I'm saying nobody cares what you do for a living. Are you fun to play disc golf with? Oh, you are? Cool. I want to play with you.
It's like that camaraderie, you're doing something that you both like.
Yeah. Well, so this is, I know this, and I can speak for men. The way the male hierarchy works is we have a hierarchy of competence, right? It's based on our status is based on how well, how smart, how strong, how good you are at something. This is how men rank one another. All men do this in all things. If you're in the military, you have ranks. If you're in corporate America, you have a management structure. If you're a jiu-jitsu class, you know who the black belts are. But the thing about us guys is we don't have one hierarchy that just is a blanket thing that applies to this whole group of people. Your hierarchy changes in the environment that you're in. So I could be with one of the co-founders of Netscape, who in the corporate world is leagues ahead of me in this male hierarchy. And we go out to the disc golf course, and I got a different place than him. So when you go out to the disc golf course, you're a nice person, but basically the hierarchy is based on, well, how good are you? Like, and if you're good, it doesn't matter who you are. The CEO of the big corporation in town will absolutely be fawning all over you if you're better at disc golf than them, because in that hierarchy, like, you have your status. It's no different than, like, you go out to bowling league, the best bowler at bowling league is king of the bowling alley. It doesn't matter, like, if he works at Taco Bell, if he's the best bowler on Tuesday nights, he's the guy. So, there is that, but that doesn't mean we don't get along. It means we just kind of find our place and fall into rank.
See, I kind of experience a little of that. It's different for me because being a woman, I play airsoft. And when I start out and we're picking teams and stuff, there's not a lot of women that are in airsoft that play airsoft. Until we start actually playing, people look at me and they judge me. Oh, she's a woman playing airsoft. And then we start playing and they're like, I want her on my team. So it's kind of like that, eh? Like, you're judged based on your performance, or there's just no judgment. You just see how you do.
Okay. So what you're describing is, if you said not a lot of women play. So you are in the hierarchy of competence, which means men don't care if you're male, female, tall, short, black, or white. We don't care. It's about how good you are at the thing we're doing is how we create our hierarchy. We don't care about those insignificant details. We care about how good you are at the thing. But we all get along because we don't care. Like, we know who we are. We know who the other players are. We know who's better at something or worse, but that doesn't change our level of friendship. The point I was making with that isn't that there's this hierarchy of who's better or worse than disc golf. The point of that was that it doesn't matter what status you are over here in life. It's when you get onto the disc golf course, it's a level playing field. Who shot the best this day is the winner. It doesn't matter the price of the shoes you're wearing.
Yeah,
that's all I meant.
We overnighted in Wyoming one night, and I had time, and I went out. Beautiful course, and I'm struggling because it's a very advanced course, and I'm very much below novice. And this guy comes up behind me, he says, "You mind if I play through?" I'm like, "Dude, go ahead. It'll probably take me an hour to get to the next basket, so you're cool." And so he goes, "Well, go ahead and play." And so he stayed with me for the rest of the game. And of course, we struck up a conversation. Turns out he was out there practicing. He was a pro. And he was giving me tips and teaching me things. And
exactly.
Great banner. He recommended a good place in Cheyenne, I think we were, to go get a beer. And and at the end, I was like, "Man, that's really cool. Thanks a lot." I said, "I appreciate it." And he said, I forget how he worded it. He wasn't like bragging or anything. He goes, "Well, I play a lot of disc golf." And I said, "Oh," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm blah, blah, blah." I forget his name now, but I looked him up later, and he's like in the top 40 or 50 in the PDGA, and I was just blown away. I
Yeah.
was like, stop.
But that doesn't surprise me a bit. That's the way it is.
What does it take to get to that level? Like, what kind of training do you have to do?
Honestly, it's identical to every other sport. It starts with, if you want to get to the highest level, it starts with, there's some level of natural gifts that you probably have. I mean, there are people that no matter how much they train, they're never going to be the best at a sport. There's people that no matter how much they practice will never be top chess players or top writers or top painters. So there is some natural ability that we're talking to get to the highest level. I'm not talking about just to get good. You want to get good at something, you put the time in, you're going to get good at it for sure. But at the highest level, it starts there. And then it's no different. It's putting in the time. It's studying the mechanics. It's studying technique. It's studying your own game. It's taking care of your body. And then it's training and practicing and training and putting in years and years. The old expression of 10,000 hours, which is a pretty, kind of rough estimate. It's a pretty arbitrary number. But, it's something like that. There's a certain number of time you have to put in doing things right. Like if you have poor technique, like if you're a ball golfer and you don't swing the club properly, go put in your 10,000 hours swinging the club wrong. There's going to be a ceiling on how good you get. It is no different than any other sport. It might be a newer sport, but it is the same thing. You got to pay your dues and then, hope that you did it right.
When you get to that level, how much of it is technique and how much of it is like mindset?
So I'm a believer that most of it is technique. And I know that this is one of those things that people debate. How much does the mental game play a part? How much does the physical game, technique and strength and training? Like there's always, those are just, what are you going to call them? Coffee table discussions. I personally am a believer that in sports, it is far more about mechanics and training than mental. And the reason I say this, because by the way, this people are watching are probably already clicking away thinking that I'm an idiot by saying the mental game's less important, because all the commentators will tell you it's so important. But when I look at professional sports, I fail to see a pattern of the psychology that leads to success. Like, is it because, you got to be calm under pressure, except for all of those great athletes who get angry under pressure. You got to be confident. Well, okay, except for all those UFC fighters that are throwing up before fights because they're scared. Like, you got to be, you got to stay in the moment, except for the people that are still bitching about the bad call last week. Where's the pattern from mental game? Like, I don't really see it. However, I do see patterns in technique, such as everybody has good mechanics to be good at a sport. Like, there's no quarterbacks in the NFL with bad quarterbacks or, football throwing mechanics, but their mental game is so strong. No, they all have good technique. So I see technique being universal. I see training hard being universal. And then I look at mental game going, I have a hard time even seeing a pattern of what's important and what isn't. So it doesn't mean mental game's not important, but it just seems like the correlation is technique and training above everything else.
Do you think that if somebody has that gift, has that talent or that technique down, can they still they can still be stopped or still fail because of overconfidence? So that kind of mindset can disrupt their abilities.
Maybe overconfidence can cause bad decisions, maybe. Like, having too aggressive a style of play. I mean, a quarterback who's too overconfident probably throws more interceptions than they need to, right? Because they're making throws that require such precision that they think they can make, 9 times out of 10, but it turns out they can only make it 3 times out of 10, and they get picked off, right? So I can see how overconfidence would hurt you in that regard. At the same time, though, being good at sports, and I'm talking about at the highest level, requires a level of self-confidence and arrogance and a belief in yourself that it borders on overconfidence. Maybe the difference is whether or not you open your mouth and start to use words where people feel like you're overconfident. But you got to be that way. I mean, you got to be able to pick yourself up every time you fail and brush it off. You got to, like, you don't put all those hours into training if you don't think I'm going to be the best in the world if I do this. Like, you got to be able to not listen to anybody that doubts you or that tells you can't do it. Like there's a lot of high level arrogance involved in getting good at sports. In fact, I've always said, I believe you have to be extremely egotistical and arrogant to be at the highest level of sports. The difference between that person and an asshole is the arrogant person who opens their mouth and says the things they're thinking is an asshole.
My grandpa had a saying that, he used to tell me, Jen, it's better to keep your mouth shut and let people think you're stupid than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Sorry,
Yes.
I don't know why that just reminds me of that when you said that.
No, I think that was something like, honestly, it was like Mark Twain or something, I think, said that, or something like that. No, it's a great expression, but it's the same thing. Like, if you're cocky and arrogant and you open your mouth, people aren't going to really like you because you sound like an ass. But I think you have to be thinking this way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that correlates to success.
I know when I used to do, because I did martial arts for many, many years. And I remember going into tournament training, like tournaments and stuff. And there were a few times that I would, be sparring against another opponent, and they would get overconfident, and they didn't necessarily say it, but they leave themselves open because they were convinced that they were better. And then I would sneak in a punch or a kick, and I would win. I would actually win the game because of that overconfidence. And that's kind of what I think.
That's the bad decision making.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
you still got to make good decisions.
Yes.
But I mean, and okay, but you want to talk about, how about this? I say all these things are important, but I'm positive there's very successful athletes who have the most self-doubt in the world and have no confidence, and yet they're still good. That's what I'm saying, the correlation to mental.
Yes.
Like, there's plenty of people I know that are extremely negative and beat themselves up really badly, and they're basically
They're
defeated.
their own worst critic.
Yeah, and yet, they won again, like, because their technique was so damn good.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes
It's
this is the worst.
Yeah. There takes a level of humble. Like, you've got to, yes, you've got to believe that you have to have faith in your talents and stuff, but you also have to be humble enough to know that there is still things you need to learn. I think that when I'm talking overconfidence, because I used to, I'd see it in other people when I'm training, and they're shut their brain down and they're like, I don't need to learn that. I know what I need to know. I know everything there is to know, and they don't. But, it takes a level of humble, to know that you don't know everything. There's still always something to learn, even if you're at that top.
Well, yeah, you should never be satisfied. I mean, I personally think that's life in general.
Yes.
Like they say life is a pendulum, which I think it is. You're either moving forward or backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think many people stay stagnant. And even if you stay what appears to be stagnant at life, well, as the years go by, if you're not building your retirement, you're not building your future, well, then that is going backwards relative to where you were. Like, it's one or the other. So, yeah, I think that what are we perfect? Unless you're perfect, you always improve.
Well, yeah, and nobody's perfect, right? I haven't met this person, nobody, but if I do, I'll have to ask them how they became perfect.
Exactly.
Sorry,
you.
That was a very, very bad pun. I'm sorry.
That was really it was pretty. I'll give you a 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Okay, good. I'll aim for higher.
Well, Scott, when you were playing and you were focusing on your career as a player, at what point did you decide you wanted to give back to the community?
So I've been doing this for most of my career. I started when I went on tour in '93, and by '95 or '96, I was doing throwing clinics all over the country. So in the '90s, I did 270 throwing clinics in um, 48 states. So I did clinics everywhere. I always liked giving back. I always liked teaching. I always liked passing along what I know. Like I like being in that role. You know, it's metaphorical, but when everybody's facing one direction, I like to be the person facing them, whatever that looks like. So that would be if it's, competing in a tournament or doing pro wrestling or doing stand-up comedy or teaching a class, a disc golf class, or speaking at a public setting, like all of them are kind of the same idea, which is I want to be the guy facing everyone else. So I
Is
like
that
being in position.
is that what kind of inspired you to write your book so that you could like teach people from where you came to how to get to where you are?
So no, so the book's more for fun. I mean, as far as there's not a lot of, well, I mean, it's a little bit, but it's mostly, so it's my first 25 years in the sport, which is also the first 25-year history of the sport told through my eyes. What the book was, I'd always wanted to do this. Well, first off, I always wanted to live a life that I felt people would want to read about someday. And by the way, that doesn't mean I've done everything right or that it's all gone well, but I've just done everything extremely full speed ahead, and I've succeeded and I've failed just as gloriously as I've succeeded. So, but both of those are interesting, I think, for the book. But this is more of an example about always trying to move your life forward, to be honest. So I was, after working for myself for decades, I ended up taking really my first job working for somebody else in like 20 years. I was selling software up in Fort Collins, Colorado. I did that for a few years and did really, really well. When I lost that job, I ended up getting a job in Denver, which is an hour commute each way. And I was like, that's 10 hours a week I'm going to be in the car. There's no way I'm going to waste 10 hours a week listening to music, listening to books on tape, listening to podcasts. And by the way, I don't think it's completely wasting. If you're, listening to music is kind of a waste of time. But if you're trying to educate yourself, I'm not saying, there's anything wrong with that. But I was like, what can I accomplish? And I said, well, I could write my autobiography and I could do it with a voice recorder. And I wrote up my outline from my autobiography, and I just every single day to and from work, I was just recording. And then we ended up, I had help with a friend who helped me write it, who helped transcribe it. But so honestly, the book came about by me not wanting to spend 10 hours a week in my life, not moving forward. Like I had to do something. I wasn't going to just I can't even imagine at the end of, that's 40 hours a week. At the end of the year, I got 2,000 hours that I could have used to accomplish something, and I didn't do anything with it. That would have I would have not been happy with myself.
I think people waste more than that on TikTok or YouTube scrolling.
Yeah, and which, by the way, I'm guilty. I'm not perfect. I will go down my rabbit holes too, but
yeah,
I try to consciously keep it reasonable.
Let me push a button here to keep us legal in Australia. So hold on one second.
Broadcasting across Australia on Dare Media Group radio stations, this is the Sportcat Show, uncovering secret chapters, strange encounters,
and the occasional technical mishap.
And welcome back to hour 2 of the Sportcat Show. And by the way, they did that promo for me. I couldn't do that for myself. I wouldn't know what
That's not your voice?
No. I was asked to write an article about myself for a podcast magazine. I'm like, you want me to talk about myself? Yeah. And, I never thought about that, but you were correct. When you're going back and forth, you can use that time for something else. I use mine when I travel back and forth between Atlanta and Knoxville a lot. And I use mine, like you said, listening to shows, learning stuff. And it also helps me here interview techniques, little tricks, and things. So it's good, but I never actually thought about that. You could just be mindlessly wasting it on nothing.
Yeah, look, I get, and this is, I'm going to run the risk of coming across. I don't mean to come across like judgmental when I say this, which usually is a setup to sounding bad. But the thing is, what I don't understand is when anybody, like anyone who's like, say they're struggling with their career or their finances, and then they're asking you, what Netflix show should I binge watch next? I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I know you need breaks. I know we need entertainment. I know we need to take our minds off of things. It's not like you can, work 17 hours a day until you make your life good. We're human. We're not capable of doing that. But the amount of what time people spend wasting their life when they got more important things to be doing makes no sense to me. Like there's plenty of time for Netflix shows after you move out of your parents' basement at 40 years old, come on. And so I just try to like always remember that. If I'm not moving forward, I'm moving backwards.
I like that philosophy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Did you have a role model that helped you come up with this, or did you go to school to be a psychologist? Because you're doing a really good job of it.
No, so yes, I had a lot of mentors growing up. My dad died when I was 7, so the Oak Grove Gophers was the world's first frisbee golf club, which was 98% men, and those men adopted me as a kid, and I learned, I got pieces of every single one of them. What I figured out is that I could get something from everybody. Like everybody had something to teach me. Now, by the way, I didn't figure this out when I was 14 or anything, like ridiculous like that. This is as I got older, I learned, but I was like, well, this person's very good at business. This person's very happy. This person has a good relationship. This person, doesn't get mad driving in traffic. This person, knows how to fight, whatever it is. Like I could learn from every single person. So I really learned from a lot of people. And that was, it's kind of like being selfish and looking out for yourself. Like, what can I get out of this relationship for me? And when you phrase it like that, you sound awful, but that's just having agency for yourself and your future and your life. Like, I'm not happy. Okay, well, you're not happy. Like, don't go to a damn shrink. Go to someone who's happy and be like, what do you do? Most people will give you information. And if it's not a good fit for you, go find someone else who's happy and ask them. Like, don't get your advice from people that aren't happy, or the people that are, I don't know. It just seems like that for thousands of years, this is the way the world worked. How did you learn? Well, you learn from people that had done it before you. That's what the word wisdom is, right? Like, okay, my grandfather is wise. What can I learn from him? But you know what? If grandpa has had 9 wives, don't go to grandpa for marriage advice, you dummy. Like, no. But if grandma and grandpa have a good relationship, then they both have something to teach you. Then you should probably go talk to them about it. This is actually, speaking of like TikTok and stuff, this is one of the weirdest things ever, is that there's so many people who are terrible at something giving advice on the internet. And then the amount of people that are subscribing to this advice from people who are terrible at the thing, like it's absurd.
Look at any number of those.
Right now, if I ever make a video on how to work on a car, do not listen to my video because I don't know anything about cars.
Same.
If you listen to me, knowing full well that I don't know anything about cars, you're an idiot whose car needs to break down, because like, why would you listen to me? But that's not the culture. Within our culture where everybody has a voice, social media, YouTube channels, influence, like all of a sudden everybody can just be an expert at whatever they choose. But it's the free market. The free market is not voting and saying, well, I'm not tuning into you because you have nothing to offer. Instead, the market's like, ooh, that sounds good. I'm going to listen to that person tell me about dating advice. I've been single for the last 16 years, and I can't get a relationship to last more than 3 weeks. But here's what I've learned about dating. It's like, what are you doing? Don't listen to that person.
Unless you want to be single, then listen to them.
Yeah, but if you have a grandma and grandpa that have 50 years and happy, not only because there's a lot of people that have been married 50 years that are miserable. Don't listen to them. But the happy people, they're out there.
Yep. Kid Wilson wants to know real quick. Can you ask Scott how he survives let me try talking. Can you ask Scott how he survives financially, considering disc golf is not a lucrative sport?
Sure, absolutely. So disc golf is about a $500 million industry. So somewhere in the vicinity of $500 million a year changes hands. Most of it involved in purchasing golf discs, purchasing from retailers, and the retailers purchasing from manufacturers. That's probably 3/4 of the industry, but that's not the whole industry. But it is a massive, massive $500 million industry. There is plenty of money out there in running events, teaching classes, making appearances, doing social media content, representing brands, being sponsored. So there are so many different ways out there a player can make money. So for example, I ran an event tonight. This was my event in Huntsville. I had 24 people come out to the event. So I charged $49 a person. So whatever that is, it's $1,250 to come out to do the teaching event. And I sold another $300 or $400 worth of stuff. So it was like a $1,600 day. Now, that's not profit, right? I got my hotel, I got the lease on my vehicle, I've got my insurance, I had to purchase the disc that went out there, right? So this is not FU money or anything like that. And I also have to pay for the days I don't work, because the reality is I can't do this. I said I've done like 40 out of the last 45 days or something like that. But I will have some breaks coming up because it's not sustainable. Well, I have to be able to survive those days as well. That costs money. So it's not that I'm just completely balling with that money, but I'm not, I'm comfortable. I make a good living. And, I got 30 years into teaching. So, I better make a decent living at teaching. Seems how I've dedicated my whole life to it. So. And of course, I also manufacture golf discs. If you go to StokelyDiscs.com, we have 7 original models out that we manufacture. I also purchased a company called Ching Discs, which we have 2 models of Ching discs out. They have 8 original molds we bought. 2 of them have been released, and the other 6 will be released over the next 3 years. We're just paging them about once every 6 months. So, it's working. I'll take it one more step further too. Most Olympic athletes, the vast majority, most of those Olympic athletes never make $1 in prize money or salary playing the sport that they played. Yet every single person who's ever been good enough at a sport to make it to the Olympics can make a living in their sport. They can teach, they can run camps, they can endorse products, they can build a brand around themselves. They can become an expert. They can be a consultant. They can work for a company manufacturing goods within their sport. So by the time you get to that level, I didn't make $1. I didn't make $1 as a professional bobsledder. But if you made it to the Olympics, you can work in the bobsledding industry and you can do fine, for sure. Like you have credibility. You have major credibility.
Absolutely. You earned it too. So
yeah, you had to.
Speaking of the Olympics, is disc golf, do you think it'll ever be a sport in the Olympics?
So that's people have been talking about that for years. The thing about disc golf is it's no longer a fringe sport. Okay, so if you just talk about, okay, like when you compare disc golf to ball golf, and apples and oranges, right? They're two radically different games. They're based on the same fundamental principle of how many times it take to do a thing. Whoever can do it in the fewest amount of times wins. And the rules are the same, but culturally there's a lot of things obviously different. One of them has ESPN and CBS contracts, and every year Buick sponsors this event and Nike sponsors that. So big dollars on the PGA Tour, right? Still. But that's not the only metric that you can use to compare these sports. You can talk about number of courses, number of players, the cost to get into it, how many retail stores carry your goods, how many channels on the internet. So there's a lot of other ways to measure or compare these two sports. Well, one of them would be, for example, how many rounds of golf played versus how many rounds of disc golf played. Right now in the US, this year, there's going to be about 7 or 8 times as many rounds of disc golf played as ball golf.
Interesting.
So in terms of just participation, we're knocking it out of the park. Now, if you are not part of the sport and you're not part of the community, and when you think of those two sports, you look at it and you say, well, the Buick Open, or I don't follow ball golf, but the Buick Open's on CBS. I don't see disc golf anymore. It sure seems like ball golf is bigger. And it is. The PGA Tour is bigger in terms of money and recognition. But in terms of the amount of rounds played, which is a valid metric, disc golf is bigger. And we are growing rapidly, and ball golf's struggling. And before I piss off anybody listening, ball golf is one of the all-time greatest sports in the history of man. Everybody in disc golf loves and respects where we came from, which was from ball golf. So this is not about us versus them or anything like that. I mean, the sport of golf is the greatest sport in the world. So this is not a knock on ball golf. It's just you're asking about when we're going to be in the Olympics. Well, how big do we have to be? Well, we're getting pretty damn big. You go to there's other countries out there. Like if you go to Estonia, so the multiple time world champion Kristen Tatar is the female multiple time world champion, and she's from Estonia. Well, when we were over in Helsinki, Finland, and we took a ferry over to Tallinn, Estonia, to play a tournament in Estonia, we get off the ferry. That's one of the places we had a rental car. We get off the ferry in our rental car. No, we had an RV then, right? Okay, we had an RV. We get off the ferry in Tallinn, and as we're pulling out of the ferry parking lot, the very first thing we see when we enter Estonia is a giant billboard that says, "Welcome to Estonia, home." So it's not just a U.S. game. There's a lot of places where it's gotten big. So, of course, it'll be in the Olympics someday. But if it's not, I don't care. I mean, it would be great if it was, but it's not going to affect us. Like our sport is secure and growing, and it's killing it right now.
Absolutely. I wish, they're doing this big thing for America 250. I wish that they would set up a golf course on the mall in DC, a disc golf course on the mall in DC for all that. I mean, they got a damn Indy car, for God's sake. If you've driven to Washington DC, that's crazy. So
right.
That would be amazing. But yeah, I agree.
Well, so this is where, this is one of the things that when people used to talk about for the longest time, they're like, well, how are we going to get on ESPN? How are you going to get on CBS or on network television? How's our sport going to get there? And for many years, people were saying that when we were far too small to even move the meter. Like, I'm sorry, when there were 500,000 people playing, like no one's going to watch on ESPN 20 years ago. But there's a point where you hit critical mass and you kind of cross that line. But the thing is the whole world is changing. Network television's dead.
Yes.
It just doesn't, it's basically been diagnosed as terminal. And it's like, how long can we prolong this thing before it goes? And that's not, a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the world changes. Technology changes things. So we don't need those things anymore to be successful. We have the Disc Golf Network. The Disc Golf Network people subscribe and they watch. There's fantastic coverage of events, plus tons of original programming and shows. Then you have companies like Jomez and other channels, or even my channel, Scott Stokely on YouTube, where you're getting tons of like cool disc golf content. And like we don't need those things anymore. So all the traditional things, when are we getting on CBS? When are we getting a major sponsor? When are we getting the Olympics? Those things are really nice, but I think they were a lot more relevant 20 years ago. Like if we never get in the Olympics, but there are 200 million people in the world playing, that's the Olympics loss, not ours.
I know
It's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
when he'll be angry at me. James, the Immaculate Shot. When that
James
made,
Conrad.
Yes, when that made ESPN as one of the top plays of the week, everybody's like, "What is that?" But I watched it live, and I was like, "Holy shit!" It was one of those moments, and ESPN did catch it. And it went viral, absolutely, and probably helped the sport grow tremendously.
So I saw something really fascinating, and I'm going to get this wrong. So first off, yeah. So I mean, like Big Shots had actually made the top 10 list multiple times before that. Nate Doss got an ace in Arizona, and Philo got a albatross at the Beaver State Fling in Oregon. And so there had been a number of aces before that had been on there. That wasn't an ace, but a number of shots that had made it. What was interesting is there just came out, I just saw this, I don't recall if it was ESPN or Sports Illustrated, but it was like a major sports network, and they listed the top 500 sports moments of all time, and I believe it made the top 100. And just the fact that it got recognized as a sport that could qualify for the top 100, like, that's pretty respectable, right? That it got noticed.
Absolutely. And I've never met James, but I've heard from other people he still plays with that disc, and he's been offered like $1 million for that disc.
Really?
To sell it.
I didn't know that, but then James he's a sweetheart of a man. He's a great guy. So I don't know. For $1 million, I might consider breaking into his van and stealing it from him, selling it, and then you know what they say: don't ask permission, ask for forgiveness.
Right.
Like I think for $1 million, I might actually go ask for forgiveness. I'm kidding. If James is watching, I love you, James. I love James. He's one of my favorite people. He's a friend of mine. I'm joking. But $1 million, you know.
I don't know if that's true. I've heard that, but yeah, I'd be like you. I'd sell my shoes, my underwear, my t-shirt.
No,
don't donate them and get them sold for $1 at the thrift store, right?
Right. No, I think it's great. I think it's like that was a magical moment, and it was right at the time when COVID hit, and so it was right at the exact right moment when people were like, damn, I need to I somehow need to find something I can do because I'm being cooped up. The bowling alley is closed. The billiards hall is closed. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh, here's this thing where I can at least get outside. Well, I've never tried it before, but I'm willing to try anything right now just to get out of the house. And then everybody was like, oh my God, this is like the funnest thing I've ever done. Why didn't I start playing this 20 years ago, right? That's what happened with almost everybody. Well, James Conrad's shot is one of the things that brought people out to the course. So it was, you know, maybe the other, aside from like the putting the first basket in the ground, like is arguably the most important moment in our sports history. So very special.
When I was reading about disc golf and I was reading about you and stuff, and it really struck me as very admirable that you're promoting autism acceptance. Is it just that your feelings that people who are neurodivergent should be included in all sports, or is there something specific that people on the spectrum would bring to this kind of game?
So it's a long story, but where it really comes from is partially about introducing the game to people with autism. So first off, it's not autism. It started off as autism, and then now it's a very broad thing. I do call it special needs, but it's autism, Down syndrome, paraplegic, quadriplegic, blind, not deaf. The deaf community is not included in that. They are adamant about not wanting to be included in that, which I totally get. But it's about a lot of different groups, some developmental, some physical. Where it comes from more than anything, where it started was that it's not about people with autism. It's about people with autism along with their families. So the whole idea behind disc golf being a great sport. Now I'm going to talk about autism, but again, this applies to Down syndrome or any other, any other disability. They all have some things in common, which is things that should be easier have become harder because of this thing. So the thing about disc golf that's so special is that it's a parallel sport. And it's so strange because I've been talking about this and I've been speaking on this for years, and I can't find anything or not anything, but very little talking about this. And it's so important. So there's two types of sports. There's the normal competitive sport where you compete against somebody, like a sport like, let's say, tennis. But there's also parallel sports where you don't compete directly against a person, you compete side by side, let's say bowling. There's a huge difference between tennis and bowling. And the difference is when you play tennis with somebody with a disability, someone with special needs, like let's say an older brother goes out to play tennis with their kid brother with autism or Down syndrome or something. Okay, well, that older brother is getting exercise. He's getting to have fun. He's connecting with his brother. He's being a good person. He's helping teach. Like he's doing a whole bunch of things. The one thing he's not doing is playing tennis because he's not really playing the game. He's just accommodating for what this other player is able to do. He might have a fun day, but he's not having the fun of tennis, right? Mm-hmm. Now, take a parallel sport like bowling. If that same brother enjoys bowling and goes out with his kid brother with Down syndrome and they go bowling together, he gets to bowl exactly the same way he bowls at league, the same way he would bowl if he was with me by himself, because he's going against the pins, he's going against the lane, he's going against his average, his past scores. He's competing not against, but rather side by side. The difference
so it's not like a competitive thing where you're relying on somebody else to be playing back and forth. It's something you can do sort of on your own.
If you enjoy bowling, it does not matter who you are with. When you step up to the lane, you are bowling against the next shot, which means you can enjoy bowling as much as you always do, no matter who you're playing with. This is a huge difference because you might have to bribe the older brother to go out and play with their kid brother. You might have to encourage them, and then everybody has to make accommodations. But with the parallel sport, you don't. You get to play side by side, playing the game that you love, which means it's just a far more sustainable thing, right? You got a kid brother with Down syndrome and you like to disc golf. You could go disc golfing with your brother with Down syndrome every single day and enjoy the sport of disc golf just like you would. You would not have that same experience in a head-to-head competitive sport. That is a unique situation that makes a sport like disc golf so good for families with kids or family members with special needs, because a lot of the other parallel sports are really cool. But bowling costs money. Golf is just really freaking hard if you have special needs to play ball golf. So a lot of these other sports, they're great. They're wonderful sports. But here's this thing called disc golf where it's like, guess what? Doesn't cost any money. It's pretty easy to learn from the beginning. Even if you're terrible at it when you're new, you still have fun. It's free. It is the perfect family sport if you have special needs in your family. And everybody needs to know this. I want the whole world to know that this is the case, because you're a family of kids with special needs. Like, there's this place where you guys can find something as a family that you probably didn't even know existed. Now, there's a second reason, though, that this is so special. for people with special needs. And I'm going to speak more directly about autism, although this would apply to everybody, but with autism especially, there is an isolation that happens within the autism community because of the unpredictability that often comes with a child with autism. The behavior can a lot of times make it a challenge to even, go to Denny's with your child with autism, because you don't know, like there's an unpredictability that sometimes comes with it. And you can't generalize with autism. So that doesn't mean every child with autism, but it's not uncommon. That unpredictability causes a level of anxiety for these families, often to a point where the family's choice is to isolate. We're just going to stay at home, or we're going to hang out with other families with kids with autism, or our family members who understand our child. But that's the only safe place. And next thing you know, these families are invisible. They're not out there in the world because they're isolating, understandably in some cases, because of this unpredictability. Well, guess what? The disc golf community, I can speak for every disc golf club on planet Earth, and I can speak for them and say, come out with your kid with autism. That kid's going to be welcome. It's just the nature of the people that play our sport. Like, you bring little Johnny out to the course with Johnny who has autism, and then Johnny has a meltdown because, a bug landed on him, and it just set him off. Nobody in the club's going to care. Nobody's going to want you to leave Johnny home next week. They're going to want you to bring Johnny. In fact, when you bring Johnny out, they're going to be like, hey, Johnny's going to shoot with us. You guys go play with their mom and dad. And mom and dad are like, wait, what? Like, that will happen in every single club. So here's this environment. It's a parallel sport. Families can do together. Then you immerse yourself with the club where you're going to be welcome. And everybody's going to go, that's Johnny. That's the way he acts sometimes, whatever. No one's going to care. Not in our sport. So that's kind of the whole idea. Yeah,
it's very much like a cultural thing rather than a political thing.
It's no political at all. It's completely cultural. Yeah. The culture of our sport is everybody's welcome. Nobody's going to have a problem with you being slower, having additional challenges. It's this weird thing about grown men and women who like playing with toys in the park, but that's just who we are. And so if the special needs community, the more they know this, the more they bring their family members out, they go, oh my God, here's this place where I'm welcome. Not welcome. I mean, people are excited to see my kid that I don't want to take to Denny's, but when you go to disc golf league, everybody's happy to see him and high fives him and they give him Frisbees. Like, so I just want everybody to know this so they can experience the same joy that I found.
I'm going to have to look up and see if there's disc golf in our area here, because that's something that I'm sure that would be great for me and my kids.
Yes, there's disc golf in your area. What town are you in?
I live near Calgary, so I would imagine there is.
In Calgary is the third most played disc golf course in the world.
Perfect.
It's in Calgary. And it is Johnny Roberts in Colorado. There's Morley Field in San Diego, and then the course in Calgary. And for several years, it was number one. So yeah, there's a tremendous disc golf scene in Calgary. Actually, it's actually a booming disc golf scene up there.
Perfect. I'm gonna have to
and
check
your
that
kids
out.
are welcome. They will love your kids coming out, because that's the lifeblood of our sport. It's new players.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sitting here enthralled by the things you're saying, because I never thought of it that way, but you're so right. I mean, I never put that together with it. And so it is a perfect sport for that.
It's a perfect sport. It's the perfect sport, in my opinion.
I've never had the only time I've had a bad experience was in Tampa when I lost a disc, but
it still hasn't found it.
Yeah, it still chafes me. But yeah, I mean, I can say that. Even if you have a bad day and you finish like 50 over or whatever, you're still outside, you're having fun, and you meet people, and yeah. So and let me catch up in the chat real quick. They were going back and forth about ball golf and disc golf, and they were talking about sand traps and water. I don't like water. Uh, and somebody said, good points. I have a child on this is Mark, by the way. I have a child on the spectrum, and he's never been able to play a team sport. We picked up disc golf this summer. He's excelled so well, and he's personally opened up because of it. Good. So, and
yeah, so I have 2 boys on the spectrum, and I'm on the spectrum, and I know when I was I don't remember them having disc golf when I was a kid, but I know that I went into the martial arts, which is it's similar. You're not really competing against other people in a way, you are, but it's also you're competing against yourself, and it's something you can do on your own when you're not sparring. But just that ability to feel like you belonged and that you were able to do something, it's a very big confidence booster. And I can imagine that, young people who are on the spectrum and or kids and families, if they can't do anything else because of this unpredictability, I'm using autism because that's my experience as well.
Sure.
That it would increase this confidence, and then they're doing something together, which is making memories, and it's just good overall.
Yeah, it is. And, especially with autism, this, not every kid's going to find it fun. And that's just like anything else. But you try it. And maybe this is the thing especially with autism. When someone with autism finds their thing, it often becomes their thing. Not unusual. And so it just becomes something else you can do. So I've actually gone to 290 cities, and I've taught a free disc golf class for kids and adults with special needs, where you come out, and at most of the events you would get a disc and a shirt just for showing up, totally free. This is something that I just do because it's fun. I've done far less lately. My business has me just swamped, but as soon as I start making a little bit more money, and I'll do much more. At the moment I have to grind. But I've gone to 290 cities, so it's not none.
Nice.
And every person with autism is unique. You know the expression, if you know someone with autism, or no, if you know one person with autism, you know one person with autism. But the stories, my God, the stories I have about, because of the unique, I don't know, I find it so much fun because it's just listening to people whose brains just work differently, it's just so interesting because everyone's different, but it's like you get to peer into someone different. I don't know. It's never boring.
Mm-hmm.
I've never once gone to a class and been like, "Oh, those kids with autism were boring today." That is the word I've never used.
No, I've said loud, busy. I've heard loud. I've heard busy. I've heard my son. I describe him as that dog from the movie Up, where he's talking to you and then squirrel. And so, to have something that he can do, because team sports just don't work, but to have something that he can do with his family, which is just awesome.
Parallel sport that's what it is. It's a parallel sport. And then he'll make friends at the league, and people will embrace him, and your kids are welcome at every disc golf league.
Yeah.
I can speak for the Calgary Disc Golf Club and tell you that they will love to meet your kids, and they will love it when you bring the kids out to play. 100% guaranteed.
Definitely going to make a go of it.
Good.
You should. It's a lot of fun. You're so passionate about this. Was there a reason that you were drawn to this aside for just the love of the sport? So my initial reasons for it was I was trying to impress a girl. The same.
Sorry. We all start out. I mean, it's a good place to start.
This is why men do everything. Men don't like sports cars. Men drive sports cars because women like men in sports cars. Okay, so we're all motivated by the same thing. It's just biology. But I was dating a woman whose son had autism. And I was trying to just do nice things and probably trying to impress her, and that's all. I mean, it doesn't. I'm just honest because I think it's important for people to realize that you can start doing cool things and good things. It doesn't mean you're up on some pedestal where you're like, "Oh, I'm this altruist," and what I was trying to impress a girl. But when I started running these events, and I started finding a lot of meaning, and a lot of I got a lot of satisfaction from the emails and the messages from all the people that were thanking me for coming out doing these events. Sorry. And so when me and her, split up, I just, I'd be in town and people would message me, well, when's the special needs class going to be? I can't wait to come out. It's called Blue Power, by the way. You can find it on Facebook. I don't keep up with it as much, the Blue Power page, simply because I've been busy doing other things. I also have a Discord server called scottstokely.net/Discord, where I have a section there on adaptive disc golf. I'm using the term adaptive more than special needs, honestly, because it just seems to be a more appropriate term. And that's not being, I don't do the whole politically correct thing. Like it has nothing to do with that. But adaptive is just a more accurate word. It's adaptive disc golf. But that's on scottstokely.net/Discord. But once I started doing it, I just found so much value and it made me happy. So I just never really stopped.
You can tell it's a passion with you. You can tell.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my strategy for life. I make a bunch of money over here so I can do all the stuff I want for free over here. Actually, want to hear something really funny? I don't want to point out that you're sitting right here. Can I point out that you're here? Okay, you can. We lean over and wave. Just wave your hands. Okay, so just so you don't think it's here. That's the imaginary person next to me. So this is the funny story. So when I met my girlfriend 6 years ago, just over 6 years ago, and she's been traveling with me basically most of ever since. Like I told her when I met her, I said, I go, good news and bad news. I go, here's the good news. I make really good money. I said, but here's the bad news. I give most of it away. I did, remember? Mm-hmm. I told her that. I said, I am not, I'm not answering to anybody when it comes to where I give my money away. So if you're going, if you plan on saying, well, you shouldn't have given away that much, or we really could have used that money, we're not going to be a good fit because I'm not answering to anybody. You just need to know that I'll make enough. Like you're going to eat tonight. We're gonna have a hotel. We're gonna be fine. But other than that, don't plan on me having a savings account because I give away my extra money. That's just what I like to do. It's just fun. But I'm a financial planner's worst nightmare. Like literally, I would be like a case study in a financial planner's college textbook. Like how do you handle this situation? I'll even tell you, this is God's honest truth. This is how stupid this whole way I live is. So we were over in Europe. So one of the things I was doing for 4 years is I would give away all my prize money. So whenever I wanted a tournament, I would give the tournament director the name of an organization, usually a special needs organization, sometimes a disc golf in developing countries organization, but either one, I would give them the name of an organization and I would say, whatever I win, just send my prize money to somebody else. And I did that for 4 years. And in fact, the reason I did it was because I couldn't run my special needs classes during COVID. And I was like, well, I want to do something. I'm really feeling this emptiness of not doing stuff. So I said, hey, I'll just give away all my prize money. So we were over in Europe in 2023. And the last tournament I played, in fact, it was the one in Estonia I mentioned. The last tournament I played, I forget, I think it won like $1,200 or something like that. And I gave them, I believe I sent it to Disc Golf of the Philippines, maybe, whatever it was. I sent it to the Disc Golf Association of the Philippines. So I win $1,200. I sent it to the Disc Golf Association of the Philippines. Our visa's about to run out. And I say, okay, you need to book us a couple airline tickets back to the US. And she says, we don't have enough money. So I literally spent all my money, all my prize money to the Philippines, and then was like, we don't have enough money to fly back to America and our visas are about to expire. So that's my weird life. So the point is I told her when we met, you need to be okay with living like this because this is way more fun than having money in the bank.
It's definitely fun. Sounds like never dull moment.
Well, it's okay. It's quotes around fun. It's not fun for everybody, but
Yeah, that's why I said never a dull moment. It's not
It's
true
yeah.
fun, but it's interesting.
It's just weird, but I just don't care. Like I'm just gonna do what I want to do, and then we'll figure out how to solve the next problem.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Before we let you get out of here, and I want to leave a little extra time for some things. One of the questions we always ask our guests, because we started as a paranormal show, but I found that was too boring. So we have stretched out. We have athletes, actors, authors. We have everybody. But we all ask the same question. Have you ever had a paranormal experience? Have you ever seen Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, anything?
You're gonna hate my answer.
Oh, no, that's okay.
So I am a card-carrying member of the International Society of Skeptics.
Good.
Michael Shermer, the editor of Skeptics magazine, actually went to my high school right after I graduated. He's a little bit younger than me. So I do not have any paranormal experiences. I did, however, and now I can't do it because I'm not there anymore, but I did come up with a bulletproof way of creating a new Bigfoot hoax that would have been believable. And I really wanted to do it because I saw a documentary on basically all the crop circles in England. Like it was two guys that did them all. I mean, eventually they had copycats, right? But the first 40 of them were these two guys, and it's an incredible story of how they did this and how they pulled it off. And I was like, I want to be them. People are flying in all over the world because they felt the vortex of energy at the crop circles. And it was just these two farmers sitting in their home watching them on TV. I always kind of wanted to be those guys, but I wanted to do it with Bigfoot. So I was going to bring Bigfoot back to the Rocky Mountains. And I had this great plan, and then I took off to go tour, and now I'm never going to get to do it.
No.
I'm very sad about that.
Well, I can tie this in though. A lot of times you will see T-shirts, discs, all kinds of things with Bigfoot and disc golf. What do you think the correlation is?
So
Good question.
So part of my plan actually was I'm always thinking business. It was a really good plan. I was going to go visit some small towns in Colorado, talk to the local mayor, who actually probably owns the local coffee shop because it's a little small town. And I was going to propose to him this idea of putting your town on the map, because we're going to make your town famous for this Bigfoot sighting, because I know how to pull this off. So it's going to work. And then people are going to come and go to your restaurants and use your hotels. And then I wanted to get in on the T-shirt market and the merchandising. I'm not kidding. I had this all thought out. I really wanted to. And by the way, the other part I got the idea was there's a YouTube channel called the Rocky Mountain Bigfoot Association. And it was basically these guys flying around the Rocky Mountains in a helicopter making videos where they never once actually saw Bigfoot, but they would see a shadow behind a tree that faced a direction that they thought was the wrong direction. So that was Bigfoot to them. And that was their big video. You go look up, I'm sure it's still up there, the Rocky Mountain Bigfoot. And I was like, we got to get these guys in on it. Like I had a master plan. So the closest I came to ever seeing Bigfoot was when I was about to create Bigfoot. So
that's great. No, and just don't get caught. They will shame you in the Bigfoot world forever.
What? We did go to Loch Ness, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, we have been to Loch Ness. We drove by it. Didn't see nothing.
Well, I don't think they've seen anything for 50 years, but people still go there.
Have you seen the actual photo pulled out? You know, the most famous Nessie photo. Have you ever seen the photo when they actually pulled it out? And you can actually, I'll send you a link. Okay. So when they cropped the photo, that most famous photo that everyone's seen, it's cropped really small, right? And it looks pretty cool, right? When you see it actually zoomed out, it actually changes the whole perspective on it. And that video, that picture surfaced not that long ago. I mean, I would say in the last like 10 years. But there's a lot of weird stuff. I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea that there's weird stuff out there. I'm just I'm in the camp that says extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. So I'm not saying big crazy things don't happen, but it has to be more than a blurry photo, for me to view that as evidence. But as a scientist, I am very much open-minded to always being wrong about anything with evidence. Here, I'll give you one story that's not a paranormal story, but it kind of falls into that category that I find very interesting. I know a woman who was I consider her credible. She's not someone that just makes up stuff. She isn't someone that looks for attention. And she told the story to me about when she had gotten out of the car at her house, and there were 2 or 3 people in the car that went in, and they went into the house, and she had something to do in the car. And she said when she got out of the car, she saw something really big hovering above, and it freaked her out because it was big. It wasn't a blimp. She's not an idiot. She's an intelligent person. She saw something above, did not say it's a spaceship from another solar system. She said it was something hovering and it wasn't making noise. I believe that she saw that. I don't think she made that up because just based on her personality. So she ran into the house. She got everybody. They came out. It was gone. Now she's an idiot. Everybody thought she was joking. Well, I Googled it, and in the town she was in, it was seen by a number of people, including the sheriff of the town. So the town sheriff also reported this thing, which there's nothing to be gained as the town sheriff to make something up or even if you saw it, you might keep your mouth shut. Now, there's also a military base not too far away, right? So there's probably a plausible explanation for it. But I do think that you can see things that kind of maybe she saw something that isn't publicly available that exists. It doesn't mean it's people from another planet. It just means there was something that was mysterious that was never accounted for. No one ever came forward and said the military didn't come out and say, "Oh, sorry about that. We were testing this." No one's ever claimed to take responsibility for it. So weird shit happens.
Oh,
but the explanation for it isn't automatically paranormal, but it doesn't mean something really big and weird didn't happen. I believe that something weird happened. I mean, it was in the newspapers. A bunch of people saw this thing. So somebody saw something that they couldn't explain.
Our government had a snafu this morning at 6:30 Texas time. They shut down the El Paso airspace immediately and told them they were going to shoot anything down out of the sky. And then the White House didn't know about it. Homeland didn't know about it. Department of Transportation didn't know about it. The only people who knew about it was the Department of War. And they called and said, "We're going to blow anything up if it's below this altitude." And it turned out it was a balloon. And to be fair, they shot it out of the sky with a laser. So
cool.
There's something that was in the news about there were cartel drones being sent up, or at least maybe that's the same story, and that's what they reported because El Paso is next to Juarez. It's probably the same story that I saw too. So I thought they said cartel. Look, there's we just were in Roswell 2 months ago. I love Roswell. I love the fact that that town has made an entire living off what we pretty confidently know was a balloon. But the fact that they've able to, I'm more interested in the fact that they've turned this into an industry. They have flying saucer restaurants, and we stayed at the UFO hotel. Remember, right? It was called it's called the UFO hotel, and we stayed at the hotel because it was the least expensive hotel that didn't have like 1 star.
There's a town like that in Alberta called Vulcan, and it's very Star Trek themed.
Is it? See, that's great. There's a town called, what's the town in Missouri called? Uranus, Missouri, right? Which is that they've made all the fun of that. So speaking of weird towns, you want the coolest, weirdest town ever? Have you ever heard of a town called the one in Texas? Marfa, Texas.
Marfa?
So in the world of paranormal, whatever, they have something called the Marfa Lights. Okay, so this is a town. It's in West Texas. It's next to Big Bend National Park. It is the most strange, bizarre town either one of us have ever been to. Okay, that's not exactly true. Like Las Vegas and Branson, Missouri are both stranger, but it's strange in its own little way because it's the tiniest. It's just this little itty bitty town that has all this paranormal activity that people go out to go see. They want to see the Marfa Lights. There's a Prada store in the middle of the desert. It's an entire store. But you've seen the Prada store, right? Yeah, that's Marfa, Texas. Yeah, it's just a fake Prada store built in the middle of the desert for no reason other than the fact that it's Marfa, Texas. We went and stayed in a bomb shelter. There's a gas station it's a bookstore, and it's everything about the town's unique. But you want to hear the weirdest thing about the town? It's one of the most fascinating evenings. I can share the story, right? About the museum.
Leave something. I mean, just let people go and find out for themselves.
Well, I'm kind of conferring. Should I tell them how it ends?
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, you shouldn't spoil it.
Okay,
People didn't experience it.
Okay, I won't. Okay, I'm not going to spoil it. Yeah, you're right. I wanted them to experience it. You got to go see this thing. So you know how that you might have a museum that's has two different things because there's not enough of one thing for the museum, so they have multiple things in the museum. Or multiple categories of things because they're just kind of sharing space because it's a small town. So we're in town and it's the Model Shipbuilding and Holocaust Museum.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, so it's a museum for the Holocaust and for model ships, like the little ones you'd build, little plastic model ships and Holocaust. And so we look on Google and it says they're open till 10 p.m., which doesn't make any sense because it's a little tiny town. Everything closes at 6, but this is open till 10 p.m. We're going to go check it out. So you drive out to the country and you get to this house, and it's just a house out in the country, except there's a little neon sign at the front door that says open at this person's house. So you park, you walk through, there's a giant 12-foot tall rooster in the front yard. I don't know why. And you knock on the door, and a person, this older man, opens the door. It's 9 o'clock at night, and we're like, we're here to see the museum. He says, I would love to show you my museum. Come on in. And then he walks around to the side door. Well, first he has to get dressed. He's wearing boxers and a t-shirt. And so he walks us around and he takes us into the museum, and he gives us the tour of the museum. And here's what we find. So before and during World War II, a lot of the Jews were trying to escape Europe at this time, especially after World War II started, obviously. But even before then, there was writing on the wall. People were trying to get out, and they left by boat. And a lot of these boats, some of them were sunk by German U-2s, whatever. Some of them made it to an entire other country, and the country says, we don't want them here, and sent them back. And the people that were on the boat that sent back, a lot of them eventually died during the Holocaust. Well, but all of these boats have stories, and some of them also made it all the way to America, other places where all the people on the boat lived and established lives for themselves. But all of these boats have stories. Entire books have been written about these boats. And this guy became fascinated with this whole story and started building model ship models of these boats that they were using to get the Jews out of Europe during World War II. And they were absolute works of art. So here's this museum a model shipbuilding and Holocaust museum where you would see a copy of the book that he read with an artist painting of one of the boats on the cover. And then right below it is this 4-foot long model boat that this guy built, identical to the photo of this boat in this book. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this makes sense. So you start talking to this person, and among other things, you come to find out he's not even Jewish. He's just some guy in Texas who became fascinated with the story and made building model boat representations of boats trying to save Jewish people in World War II his life's work. And that's only half of the story, and I'm going to leave the rest out because the paranormal stuff comes next. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't want to spoil it for anybody because God forbid someone go to Marfa, Texas and had the experience ruined for them. So
yeah. Now I'll be telling Mrs. Sportcat where we got to go. So
as soon as if I can stay on the air after you stop recording, I'll spoil it for you guys and tell you what happened. I don't want to spoil it for the audience though.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I don't want to keep you all night. So let me, I want you to make sure to tell everybody where they can find you, what you got coming up next.
Yeah, so I'm doing, so best thing you can do, so StokelyDiscs.com is where you can buy Stokely discs, where you can get Stokely discs in your store. Those are the golf discs that I manufacture. That's the core of my business that I'm focusing on right now. You can go to scottstokely.net to figure out where I'm teaching. You can find my autobiography, the discs I manufacture, the classes I teach, everything, my special needs, everything is from scottstokely.net. You can also join my Discord server, which is where we talk disc golf, everything from adaptive disc golf to teaching disc golf to recovery to mental health to men's issues to all those things. Disc golf or non-disc golf related on my Discord server. And that's the best way. But if you want to support the things I do, because I do a lot of good stuff with teaching and special needs, the way you support it is by ordering StokelyDiscs.com and placing your order. And when you place the order, drop a note that says, hey, look, I want to support your work in the special needs work. Everything I do is free, but I got to pay for it by making a living. So the more money, the more of a living I can make, the more time and money I can give away. So that's the best thing you can do.
Okay. Any more tours planned besides for?
So I'm going to be following the Disc Golf Pro Tour this year, but I'm not going to be competing. Instead, I'm going to be following around Dallas Garber, one of my sponsor players, along with 2 other players I'm about to announce. And I'll be announcing them. And I'll be telling all their stories. I'm aging out of this, so I'm still I'm not half bad, but I can't compete with the young kids anymore. So what I'm doing is I am instead telling the story of other players and letting people follow their journey next. So I'm just trying to keep telling stories, but it's my story. People need to be taking over the story, so it's going to be their story now.
Do you have an events page on your website that people can see where you're going to be?
Absolutely. If you just go to scottstokely.net, you can click on the instructional section, and then I have my online class. I teach an online class also. I do so much, but then I got all my in-person classes there too. My clinics, which are 2-hour classes, my fairway field trips, which are half-day classes, my full-day seminars, which are full-day classes, and everything's on there.
All right. Maybe you can get up to Calgary and teach Jen. So.
Yeah.
I'll make it to Calgary.
I'll have to check it out and see when you're coming to Calgary.
I'll be there. If you subscribe, get on the mailing list. Everything comes out through the mailing list.
Perfect.
And for anyone listening, not watching, this will be in the show notes afterwards, so you can go find it there. And probably not tonight. It's a little late. I don't know if I'll get it in tonight, but probably tomorrow. So, real quick, Jen, you got any place or anything you got to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to mention that my first book, the relaunch second edition of my first book, is now available. There's links on my website to read about it and to find it online at www.jmshawauthor.com. There's new material, new chapters, cleaned it up, give it a fancy new cover.
All right. All right. Well, I will be spinning discs and hits tomorrow on the thinlinerockstation.com from noon till 2, www.thethinlinerockstation.com. And like Scott, that's a volunteer thing. It helps first responders and soldiers and people with PTSD. So go buy some swag from them and help them keep playing the music. Next week, Jen and I, and maybe Harley, I don't know, we'll have two great guests. We have Wayne Jones. He is an author and now a pastor. This will be in my wheelhouse a little bit because he was a firefighter. And then we have a return guest, Tom Levisque. He has his second book coming out, so we'll have him talking about Pirates Alley. So everybody will be looking forward to that. In Australia, thank you for tuning in and allowing us to tickle your ears. We do appreciate it. We will catch you guys and gals later. Scott, do you have anything else before I hit the button for the music?
No, we're good, man. Thanks, you guys. Had a blast. Thank you.
All right. And we're going to invite you back. So you're
all right. Sounds good.
So, all right. Everybody have a great night. We will talk to you soon.
Thank y'all.
You ever wonder,